Hello everyone, I am V. Premlata, Assistant Professor in KL University. Welcome to the video sessions. We are going to discuss about the topic structures from the course CTSD. So we will see what will be the aim of our session there. So we will be making the students to familiarize the user-defined data types in C programming, and we will implement structures in C programming. Let us see what will be the objectives of this session. To make students understand the need of composite data types in C programming, and to introduce the user-defined data types in C programming and its usage. What will be the outcomes of this session there? Student will be able to understand the need of structures in C programming and to solve the problems which we will be dealing with structures. So before going to the topic, we need to have what is the topic. We need to have a prerequisite for understanding the topic of structures. So everybody are familiar with arrays. So let us give a quick review of what is an array. So to understand the structures, the basic requirement a student need to understand is what is an array there. So array is simply a similar data type elements which are stored in contiguous memory locations. So here is an example. Just we are creating 5 elements with an array name as A. So I'm showing you how we can store the values of 5 elements in an array there. So 10, 55, 23, 16, 23 are different 5 elements which are stored under one single name which is known as A, with indices as 0 starting value and 4 is the ending value. Then what will be the length of this array is as 5 here. So these are the indices which indicates for an array, and the length of the array will be 5. The first index will be 0 and the last index is 4. So we are familiar that array can store same data type values of same data in a particular single value only, single variable value only. So what is the limit of array in here? Now if I want to store a record of roll numbers, marks and name. Now if I want to store all this, if you can see individually, we need to create an array of 5 elements for all these 3 categories. So this is the limitation of array, where we have to declare 3 different variables of array category and we can access them differently. So how to access them, how to create them individually is that, see, we can see here, to declare the roll numbers, I need an integer array which stores 5 elements. So this is the memory allocation for the integer elements. Now if I want for the float, same category of float values, the same again, a marks is an array name which stores 5 elements. Now again, if I want to store a single name, then we need to have a character name. So if I want all these to be accessed under one record, so this is the limitation which makes us to the motivation to understand, to implement the structures. So that's what we are focusing on, structures, where we can overcome the problem which we are arising in array. So we will see what is a structure now. Before going to the introduction, what we are going to see in this session here. So we will see how to create a structure, how to define its members, how to initialize and how to access. These are the 3 terms which we need to understand in structures. Creating a structure, how to initialize the values and how to access the members there. So these are the 3 things which we will be learning in this session there. So very first one, we will see how to declare the variables and what is the importance of structure in here. So as I told you, array is having a limitation as same data types. So here we are introducing a concept as UDT, which is as user data type, which combines different data types together under one single name. So you need to identify this is the main difference between an array and a structure there. UDT, I repeat once again, this is as different data types are being accessed under single variable. Now what are the variables in structure are called? They are known as structure members or structure fields. Now how to define a structure? So this is a basic syntax. So we are writing something as, we are using a keyword as struct, and this is a struct tag name. So you have to remember that this is not the structure name, that is just the tag name, and we need to declare the members. You can declare the members, how many n number of variables can be declared. It can be of integer, float, character. So combination of these can be stored in this structure there. At the last, you need to have the structure name. So it's not mandatory that you have to create the structure name here itself. We have two methods to give the name for this structure there. So what are those two methods? We'll see in the next slide. Now we'll see one simple example how to create a structure. So I'm just creating a structure. So first is the structure. So struct is the keyword which indicates that this is the total structure. Now employee is the tag name. Now can you see here, the first one is as ID. That means I am having ID which is of integer data type, and the second one is as name which is as 10, means for the name I am storing 10 variables. Then the last one is as the salary which is as the category of float. Now can you see in here, this is one of the method to give the name for the structure. So can you see, I have declared 3 members for this structure under the name as E1. So 3 different data types are stored under this structure. So we will see the second value. As I told you, 3 important points we have to see for the structure: defining, initializing and accessing. So we have just defined. Defined is nothing but just naming. So 3 different variables, that is structure members, are being defined. Now we will see how we can assign individually one values. So once again, we'll see the example in here. So struct is the keyword. This is the structure tag name. You have to make a point. This is not the structure name. This is the structure tag name. And these are the data members. And E1 is the number. E1 is the name which we are giving for these data members there. Okay, so we'll go ahead for how to initialize and access the variables. Now, there are certain rules to declare a structure. The very first one is that every structure must end with a semicolon. So end of the structure, it is mandatory that you have to end with a semicolon. Then always the structure appears at the top of the source program. So you have to make a point of this one also. Always the structure appears at the top of the source program. Then the members in the structures can be accessed using dot operator. Okay, the members of the structure should be accessed with dot operator. For example, I'll just create a simple example. So structure name dot member equals to value. So in the previous slide we have seen how to declare a variable, how to declare a variable in a structure there. So how to access that variable using the structure name, we will see. I hope you remember the structure name what we have given in the previous slide. So the name of the structure is E1. One of the member is ID. So now I'm giving as ID is 47. Okay, let us see briefly how we can access one by one. So this is a structure tag name we have created previously. So these are the 3 members we have done. Now this is the name I have given for the structure. What is the structure name? E1. How many members are there? 3 members are there. Let us see how the memory location is done for all these individual members in structure. So can you see in here, the first data member is ID of category integer. So it takes 4 bytes. So can you see the representation here? From 1000 to 1003, it will be the representation for ID. Then again, we are having the second field as name, which is taking the capacity of 10. That means 10 bytes are there for the name there. Then float, which is taking 4 bytes for salary. So this is the total memory allocation which is done for this structure, and these all can be accessed with the name as single name as E1. This is what the main concept, where we are moving from the arrays to the structures, where we can easily access is when a single variable with different data types. Okay, we'll try to initialize the values after declaring. So we'll see one example. A student can have the following specifications like name, which is of string, age, which is as integer, a branch, which is as string, and status, which is as character. So now I'm taking here as status a single letter. So I'm taking it as a category as char. So we will declare that. Now they have mentioned here something as student. You have to note a point here is that this is not the name of the structure. That is the tag name. So how to declare a structure? So what is the first keyword? We need to write as structure. So struct is the keyword which we have to specify for the tag name as student. So we will write line by line one. What is the tag name? Student. What is the keyword we are supposed to use? Struct. So struct space student. Now what is the first field we are having here? Name, which is a category of string. So I'm going to have a name. I'm just taking a minimum capacity, that is as 10. So name is the field which is a category of string, and I'm giving the specification as only 10 bytes. Now the second one is as age. So age, which is of category of integer. So I'm taking as int. So it will be taking for 4 bytes. Then coming to branch. So I'm taking the shortcut of the branches like our engineering. So mechanical or mech, CSE, EEE. So it will be a short form of minimum length of 5. So I'm taking the branch as the minimum capacity of 5. And the status of the student as hostler or a day scholar. So I'm taking a single character. So I'm taking it as a character. So if you can see, it is holding 10 bytes. It is holding 4 bytes. Then again it is holding 5 bytes. And this is only 1. Okay. So can you see in here? Just I declared the structure, but I didn't name it. This is only the tag name here. I didn't mention any name here. So in the previous slide, we have seen directly giving the name there. Now I'm using the second method there. So two methods are there where we can give the name for the structure. So this structure name can be given in the main function. How we can use that struct and the tag name and the name of the structure. Struct, tag name and name of the structure. Okay. So we'll see one example, as well as we'll see the two methods how to declare this one there. So the same one, these are the two similar methods where we can give the name of the structures. See here the difference of this one, where I'm giving the name here and directly giving the name. So two methods are there where we can name a structure there. So you have to make a note that this is a direct naming, and this can be done at the in the main function there. Okay. So now we will see how to assign the values into this category of structure and how to access them. Now, any variable once declared, why we use the variables? To assign some values and do some operations. So right now, whenever we are assigning something as simply as int a equals to 5, we are storing value. Now if it is an array, we are storing the values of 5 records. The same way, like variables and arrays, structure variables also can be initialized where they are declared. Okay, the moment they are declared, we can assign the values. Okay, see here I declared and assigned the values. Here also you can declare and assign the values like this. The same way structure also can be declared, and the moment it is declared, we can assign the values. So it is quite similar to arrays. So how we can initialize, we will see. So this is a structure I have created. So now I have given the structure name. What is the structure name here? S1. Can you see? S1 is the name which I am giving for all these data members. So the first value is Chris. That means it is stored under name. 18 is the age which is stored for field as 18. CS is the branch name which I am storing for branch, and the single status of the students as hostler. Okay, so we can assign the values directly at the moment we declare them, as we have done for normal variable as well as for array. Now, how will be the memory location? You know it. So directly Chris will be stored in the name here. Then age 18 is stored in here. Then branch, you can see it is stored in here. What about the status is stored in here. So you are familiar how all these, the size and all, you are known to that. So storing will be done like that. So initialization can be done directly, or you can read from the user also. Okay, we'll see that also. Now, as I told you, 3 points are very important for the structure: declaring, initializing and accessing. So declaring is done, initialization is done. Now how to access them? So we need to fetch the data from the variables. How to fetch them? If it is single variable, you say it as a. If it is array, you will be saying as a of I. Now we are going to access a structure. So what is the structure name? We have given structure name as S1. Now what are the members? Name, age, branch and status. Now Chris is here. Yeah, Chris is here, so I'm storing here as C. Chris is here, so now I'm trying to access this. How to access this? See the structure in here? I have given the name, age, branch and status. I didn't give any name for this structure. So how to give the name in the main program? So previously we have seen one example, but right now we will see a program how to implement this. So I'm writing a program. So as I told you, in the main function we are giving the structure name. This is the S1. This is the name where I'm giving them. Now I want to access this S1 where Chris is being stored in name, 18 in age, CSC in branch and H in hostel. So that means I have assigned the values. Now how to fetch the data, how to access? That means I have to get the data from name, get the data from age, get the data from branch and get the data from status, right? So assigning is done, naming is done, declaring is done initially. Now how to access them? Now we have to go to the structure and name. So how to access? We have one operator which we need to use for structures. What is that? Dot operator. So what is the structure name? S1. What is the field? Name, age, branch and status. Now first one I'm accessing as name. So can you see here? S1 dot name, S1 dot age, S1 dot branch, S1 dot status. So to fetch the data, you need to access them with the help of dot operator, structure name dot the member name. So in this way we can declare, we can assign the values as well as we can access the members. So these are the three parts for writing a program in here. These are the three parts which we need to write for the program. So this is the first one, second and three. Declare, initialize as well as access. Now go for the single record we have seen. Now if I want the same members to be stored for one more structure, so do I have to redo that one? No need. Simply create the members. So these are the two structures I want for the same. So if I'm making a record of some 20 students of my class strength, I'm making all this information to be stored. Do I have to create all the structures individually? No need. One structure I can declare and I can name them all. N number of times I can give the name there. And in further I can make it as an array there. Okay, so we'll see two records how we can store them. So the very first one, see there, I have given, use the method, one of the method S1 and S2. S1 and S2, right? So we are declaring these numbers in method 1 as S1 and S2 here. Okay, now how to access them again? We can access them with S1.name, S1.age, S1.branch, S1.status and S2.name, S2.age, S2.branch and S2.status. So we can use in two ways declare a method. At the same time, n number of records also can be done. So I want all the students look into the sessions there where you have practice for these sessions, what you have learned. Hope you are familiarized with how to declare, access and initialize the values. So one example where you can see that, just I'll give you a brief explanation so that you can work it on yourself. So define a structure named metal which stores the following details of an element. Now we have to make a point that this is not the structure name, that is the tag name. You are supposed to give the structure name and the elements can be one of the elements from the periodic table. In the end of the program, you need to print the size of the structure. They are not asking you to access the elements, they are just asking you to print the size of the elements. So what is the first member? Name. So which category we can use? String. Then weight. Which category of data type? Float. mass, you can go into any of the category, either integer or float. So if at all you are taking as a string, so individually characters, if I'm taking as 10, then float as one value, so it will be 4 bytes. If I'm taking an integer, again 4. So just a general assumption is that what will be the size of this one there, the total structure, 10 plus 4 plus 4, that is as 18. So go through the sessions, practice sessions, what are available in here. So try to implement those after learning the concept in here. Then we will see what is the summary we have learned in this session there. So in this session we have learned about how to handle different data types in C programming and how to implement structures in C programming. So we have seen one example to implement one record, how to declare, how to initialize, and how to access. At the same time, we have seen how to give two different records same name for one single structure. And again, you are supposed to see the self-assessment. These are the simple questions which are there. So you can just identify this and solve them. A very small bit of snippets are given. Try to execute these also. Only 2 snippets are given, and 2 questions are there for the terminal questions, where for hands-on experience is needed for you. So you need to work it on this. So read the question properly and try to solve them. These are the books for reference. You can go further beyond if you want to know for the structures and all these things. You have known the basics and all. So if you want to work out on this with the different examples, different case studies, you can go with the references of this one. So thank you all for this session there. Thank you.